So, thanks for joining us for today's conversation around moments and milestones that drive year round volunteer impact. I'm Katie Elder, Vice President of Corporate Insights here at Points of Light, and we are grateful that you've joined us today as we discuss leveraging different cultural observances and company celebrations to develop sustained volunteer action and impact. I am delighted to be joined by three corporate social impact leaders who have transformed moments like Global Volunteer Month and a significant company wide celebration into strategic opportunities for meaningful, ongoing employee involvement. And you'll get a chance to hear from them soon, along with your peers in the audience. But first, for those of you who may not be familiar with Points of Light, we are a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization with global reach and a mission to inspire, equip, and mobilize people to take action that changes the world. And we just happen to be celebrating our own 35th anniversary this year. So it's even more fitting and relevant for us to be hosting this conversation today. We partner with companies, NGOs. In fact, we have a global affiliate network in more than 30 countries around the globe, and with individuals interested in doing good. And through our mission, we are working to increase the number of people volunteering with purpose to address deep rooted societal challenges. Advancing corporate social impact is a part of that work, and we collaborate with CSR teams to help accelerate, amplify, or evolve your results. You'll see the different ways we support teams listed on the screen. And to drill it down just a level further, we work with social impact leaders to facilitate strategic planning sessions, create a toolkit for your community champions, design a VTO policy or strengthen a program component, maybe coordinate your week of service, or convene leaders like yourselves through our corporate service council. And of course, there's lots more. But we'd love to explore how we might support you as you make plans to engage your colleagues in volunteering or drive toward other social impact goals. So please don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. But let's get into today's topic. We've all heard that saying, timing is everything, right? And it's true about many things in life, and it can certainly relate to your work. When it comes to employee volunteering, aligning efforts with meaningful moments can transform a program from routine to hopefully remarkable. Whether it's a nationally recognized volunteer day, a cultural celebration, or a corporate anniversary, these inflection points offer opportunities to drive awareness, engage employees, and amplify impact. I'll walk you through more of the benefits in a minute, but first, I want to ensure we're all on the same page. So, on this slide, you'll see some of the company milestones that you might think about integrating into your plans for your employer's volunteer program. These are important moments in time for the company you work for and can be coupled with an activity related to service. But I don't mean just more volunteering necessarily, and although we do love to see that. What I mean is that there are ways to use these significant milestones to elevate your volunteer program without planning more projects, right? You could, for an anniversary of the founding of your company, or maybe the opening of the first store, you could tie in annual volunteer recognition, the launch of a new volunteer program component or policy. You could launch or relaunch your volunteer brand. You could use this time to recruit or celebrate community champions, or even use these moments to educate your colleagues that your program may have changed, whether that's focus areas or maybe your signature partners. So let's take now a look at the cultural observances that I've been mentioning. And there is not a shortage of them, that is for sure. There are plenty of cultural moments during the year that you can also integrate into your plans for your volunteer program. A cultural moment or observance is a sort of specific time or event that holds significance for either a particular group or maybe the world at large. These moments are often tied to traditions or values or milestones and are recognized to celebrate, reflect, or raise awareness for an important aspect of human experience. Like we just had MLK Day of Service here in the US. I bet many of you are engaged in planning either volunteer projects or elevating the life of MLK and connecting it to your company's values. We also on the screen, you'll see Global Volunteer Month, National Volunteer Week, Good Deeds Day, and Earth Day. And all four of those things happen to take place in April, a very busy month. There are heritage months like Black History Month, Women's History Month, or Hispanic Heritage Month, Veterans Day, Giving Tuesday, Family Volunteer Day. And in December 5th, to be specific, there's even International Volunteer Day. And like I said, this is truly just a short list. There are so many more on the calendar, the proverbial calendar, that tie into your corporate values, your focus areas, or populations that are significant either to your workforce or to your customers, or maybe even to the products and services that your company is known for. We've actually published a longer list of those suggested milestones and cultural moments that might hopefully spark some ideas for you. And we'll include a link to that blog when we send out the follow-up email after, along with the recording once the webinar concludes. And while I'm on this subject, I would love to learn from y'all which moments or milestones matter to your company's employee volunteer program. So I am going to launch a poll because we love a little interaction too from our attendees. So the first question, hopefully you see on your screen, is letting us know which moments or milestones would you or do you currently integrate into your company's volunteer program? And you can select more than one if they are important to you. If you're already maybe mobilizing volunteers or launching a part of your program, tell us which ones are important to your program. And if you've answered that question, there's actually a second question below that we'd love your feedback on as well. And that's a question about challenges, whether you have experienced challenges with integrating service into a company-wide celebration, or you're thinking you may face challenges. So go ahead and answer that question too, and then I will share some of these results. Thank you guys for participating, and we love to hear insights from our attendees to know what's top of mind. It really helps us when we're thinking about more content and learning opportunities for our corporate audience. I'll give you just a few more seconds. All right, and I will close the poll in, let's say, about 5 more seconds. Yeah, and if there are others, definitely share with us in the chat. We'd love to know what other moments matter or that you're aligning or integrating with your employee volunteer program. Okay, let's end the poll and share the results with y'all so you get a chance to see what's important to others. Awesome. All right. We've got some MLK days. Oh, we've got some good April activity with Global Volunteer Month or National Volunteer Week. Looks like that one's number one. And then I'm going to scroll down to see what the challenges might be. Looks like just squeaking by with number one is that it's already a noisy time of year. I can understand that, especially depending on some of the moments in time that you'd like to capitalize on, whether it's busy for the world, right? Or busy for your company specifically. And then let's see, what's number two challenge is not enough teammates to help plan activities in all markets. I bet many are nodding their heads in agreement there, right? We are all dealing with small teams, but needing more support, right, in the offices or locations or departments even that you're not in charge of. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you guys for participating in those polls. Oh, that was my cue to launch the poll. Good thing I got that done. Okay. So I appreciate you guys, like I said, sharing about the challenges that you might have faced when it comes to using these moments in time in alignment with your volunteer efforts. But I'm going to now sort of balance out the thought of those challenges by walking through some of the potential benefits of integrating these moments in time with your volunteer efforts. I think that by integrating into these larger moments in time, companies can tap into a natural sense of collective energy and shared purpose. Think of this maybe as an opportunity to galvanize the entire workforce, right? Which, as I mentioned before, can drive increased awareness and engagement and therefore impact. Galvanizing actually means uniting, inspiring, or bringing people together toward a common purpose or action. It's positive and energizing, especially when I say it like that, right? It often creates a sense of shared momentum. And I'd honestly, I bet you might agree too, that that's sort of what we all might need right now, right? We all know volunteering or doing something good for another human has tremendous benefits related to wellness, connection, and belonging. And these galvanizing moments, working collectively toward shared purpose, can help build bridges, right? And break down silos. And because there's a singular focus across the enterprise on a specific moment in time, it can lead to additional leadership support, right? Sort of the spotlights on this particular moment in time. And then there's a bandwagon effect. If every leader across the company is bought in, that can lead to support and attention from middle management, which I know can be almost an everyday challenge to overcome. So these milestones can also come with built-in resources, right? Maybe that's budget or additional people, whether it's national campaigns, public awareness, nonprofit initiatives, right? Your partners may already be doing something around some of these moments in time. It could also include intentional collaboration with your employee resource groups, which makes it more intuitive to connect employees with opportunities to serve. Leveraging key moments and milestones not only energizes interest and participation, but also helps embed volunteerism into the rhythm of workplace culture, which fosters a sense of purpose year round. And additionally, integrating service with these occasions can help companies reach new external audiences, right? Which helps become a positive reputation builder and helps you align your company with broader societal movements. But all those benefits said, one really important note before I introduce our guest speakers. Please remember that whatever your volunteer plans are for the year or the coming years, it's paramount to be making those plans with your nonprofit partners, right? Your goals are important, yes, but they should never supersede community needs. And often when we think about these big galvanizing moments, we picture hundreds of employees all wearing the same volunteer t-shirt, descending upon a nonprofit with paintbrush in hand, whether or not that poor nonprofit needs another coat of paint, right? So please avoid that scenario at all costs and co-create your big galvanizing moment with your partners and for your partners. Just a note to the of wisdom there. So I've talked about integrating corporate milestones and cultural moments in theory, but let's get into the weeds, shall we? I'm so thankful that we have with us three corporate social impact leaders who have put this theory into practice. They're going to share their experiences and expertise with you and provide a little bit of advice too. First, we're going to hear from Nicole Jacobs, Corporate Social Responsibility Manager at TCS Canada, and her teammate, Stephanie McCall, Corporate Social Responsibility Lead at TCS US. Then we'll hear from Courtney Meadows, who is the Social Impact Manager at Phillips 66. So I would love for Nicole and Stephanie to turn on their cameras now and join me on screen, and I will drop these slides. Yay! Welcome, Nicole and Stephanie. Thank you both again for being here today. We are delighted to have you. We're going to start maybe at the beginning, right? That's the best place to start, hopefully with my very first question, which will be, what are the moments and milestones that you've integrated into TCS's employee volunteer program?
Sure, Katie, thank you so much for having us. You just got what is it, the Do Re Mi song stuck in my head with the start at the very beginning.
Yes, sorry.
I have little ones. Okay. So first of all, for those of you who don't know who Tata Consultancy Services or TCS is, I just wanted to kind of share a little bit more about us. So it helps put into perspective that corporate milestone that we're going to be speaking about. So TCS, excuse me, is a multinational IT services and consulting company headquartered in India and operates in 150 locations across 46 countries. We have over 600,000 employees across the globe, providing IT services, business solutions, and consulting to many of the world's largest businesses, which probably some of our clients are on the call right now. So as part of the Tata Group, which is our umbrella company, is 30 different companies operating in over 100 countries. To speak to that corporate milestone, Tata Volunteering Week was established to unite the Tata Group of companies across the globe. So the week launched on March 3rd, 2014, to commemorate the 175th birth anniversary of the founder of the Tata Group, Jamsetji Tata. So that's where it all begins. The very founding of Tata Group, which TCS falls under, as a way to unite our global workforce. So I know you spoke about the galvanizing, which is such a good word, and I wish I thought of it and had it in here because I was like, oh, that's so good. But it's exactly that. Nicole and I both work in North America, and she'll speak more about how we operate more locally. But it really is a way for all of our associates across the globe, across not just TCS, but these other Tata companies to come together during Tata Volunteering Week. So our founder, Jamsetji Tata, he said, in a free enterprise, the community is not just another stakeholder in business, but is in fact the very purpose of its existence. So you can see why this is such an important milestone for us. Our whole entire company, the Tata Group of companies, was founded on this very purpose. That community is part of why we're all here. So when we do our onboarding sessions, we're always speaking about, CSR and volunteering as a part of our DNA. I'm sure we've all uttered that phrase at some point.
Yep.
But it really is. I mean, that's exactly, we were founded on that principle. So having this volunteering week is, of course, an important corporate milestone for us to all get behind. So the key objective of Tata Volunteering Week is to encourage and inspire Tata volunteers. And typically we do encourage family members and whatnot to volunteer, but specifically during Tata Volunteer Week, it's our associates, their family members, and even Tata retirees to participate in these programs. So to engage in the volunteerism and then hopefully, fingers crossed, inspire them to give back on a regular basis. So it might be the turning point of somebody saying like, hey, I'm going to volunteer during this because I got a lot of emails about it. So I'm going to participate. And then maybe, it sparks something in them and they want to do more. So to create that positive social impact. So during Tata Volunteering Week each year, each Tata company offers volunteering opportunities. So at TCS, we encourage our employees to participate in do-it-yourself opportunities, virtual and in person, to drive awareness and create the interest among our associates. You have to understand there's, I think, over 50,000 TCS associates just in North America. And unlike other geographies, we are very spread out. So having those different opportunities for, the remote worker in Greensboro versus the 1,000+ associates we have in Dallas or Toronto, it just allows more people to be able to participate and meet them where they are. So the first year Tata Volunteering was celebrated, so back in 2014, more than 20,000 Tata employees across the world volunteered. And since its inception, and I only have data for 2023, so bear with me, over 1.38 million volunteering hours were logged by Tata employees and their families. So that is kind of in the nutshell, Tata Volunteering Week and the idea of kind of, again, galvanizing our global workforce. But I'm going to hand it over to Nicole to speak more about those volunteering goals.
Awesome. Nicole, share with us.
All right. So last year, with recognition that our employees were volunteering on a global scale, we decided to come together as a company and create an overarching goal for everyone. So we know it can be hard to find initiatives that are the same in all of the regions. So we decided to count the hands-on hours of give back that our employees were contributing to. So this goal was known as the hours of purpose, so hope hours, and we had 6 million of those. So with an internal system for logging everybody's contributions, we were able to see the monthly, quarterly, and annually how each country was tracking. So with our TCS annual report now out, it's safe to say that we well exceeded this goal. So a challenge that we face as a large company is making sure that we reach all of our employees across all our specific countries. So we always try and incorporate ways for both in-person and virtual opportunities to volunteer, just noting that it looks different in different places and everybody's availability is different. So as everybody here knows, and I'm certain has experienced, on some days we get bombarded with emails, and though we love to think that we can remember everything, sometimes things might just get missed. So with that said, our employee engagement team has a really strong working relationship with our North American marketing and communications team, as well on a global scale with our marketing team. So we make sure that we share informative emails with our employees, inclusive of various volunteer opportunities. We showcase how to register for them. Maybe it's a third-party event, maybe it's internal. And we follow up with reminders for our employees. So a special area I would love to note is that we also do our best to highlight our employees who are giving back for good in various newsletters and on our social channels. It's a really great way to showcase your key people for giving back and doing the work that they do out of the goodness of their own hearts. So we interview our employees who we know are spending a lot of their free time giving back for social good. And we try and showcase them on a North American scale and then also within our own separate countries. So lastly, with that, our HR team is also our strongest ally for engagement, and they're the front lines for employee questions, and they're always willing to support us with our CSR team and various causes that we support. And with CSR really embedded into our TCS DNA, we continue to reach out to new employees and honor those who are previous dedicated supporters for years on years. And though we have our local goals for volunteerism and they look different in different countries, we all come together to positively impact our communities at large. So with that, Steph, I'm going to pass it back to you.
Awesome. So, how did we integrate this milestone into the work that we're doing? So integrating the corporate milestone was like, quote unquote, easy. The concept of Tata Volunteering Week is a wonderful way to unite the global workforce. At TCS, though, we don't stray from our engagement model that's underpinned by 4 pillars or capitals. So those are intelligence, technology, human, and financial. And during this, we're just encouraging those folks to tap into all of these to give back to their communities where they're living and working. So our intellectual capital, driven by our expertise in bespoke programs like Go IT and Ignite My Future. Those are 2 of our STEM education programs aiming to reach underserved populations of students, Title I schools, and bring design thinking and computational thinking strategies into the classroom. So those programs offer an amazing opportunity for skills-based volunteering that creates an invaluable addition to both programs. All of our TCS associates are able to volunteer either virtually or in the classroom and add value by mentoring the students, giving feedback, helping them with different areas of those programs. So an amazing skills-based opportunities with both of those programs during this time. And then obviously tapping into our biggest resource is our employee base. So our talented workforce, our volunteers. This can be someone during this time volunteering personally in their own community, whether they're, a scout leader or volunteering with a local nonprofit that they have a relationship, whatever, ASPCA, whatever that might look like, a company sponsored event. So just to be clear, we don't have we're not sponsoring, it's not like 100,000 people in shirts moving on to one nonprofit and doing it. It's very we're organizing this based on, the workforce spread out across the globe. So having those events that are CSR champions, who are those people on the ground who are facilitating activities for their team members at nonprofits that they visit frequently, And then, of course, our leaders with purpose, which is associates who are participating in our internal CSR training program, and are in the midst of completing a community capstone project. So each one of these has the potential to provide leadership capacity and the capability to create impactful and lasting experience for our stakeholders and beneficiaries. Then, of course, our technology capital, we are a tech company. So supporting those programs, helping us bridge the gap, engaging a greater number of beneficiaries, and ensuring that they remain connected with the programs and also with TCS. This is also reflected in Tech for Hope, which is our pro bono technology services program, another amazing volunteer opportunity for our associates to work with nonprofits to help them with their tech needs, whether it's a consultation on something like data governance or cybersecurity, or a full development like building a website or helping with integrating AI. Anything that's going to help them reduce costs or increase efficiency, streamline their approaches and processes. And then last but not least, TCS does not have a foundation, and we don't view ourselves as checkbook philanthropists. So our financial capital, when used intentionally for purposeful investments, helps achieve sustained long-term impact with our strategic partners. So Nicole, to talk now about keeping that volunteer momentum going throughout the year.
So in North America, we have an annual campaign that we follow to streamline the different types of volunteer activations that we engage in throughout the year. So we make sure that for everything we support, we look towards the UN Sustainable Development Goals and try and make sure that each month we have about 1 to 2 areas of focus so that we don't overburden our employees with just one single month of giving. But to be able to really look at opportunities, see what fits their schedules and what's of interest. So we've recognized over time that we have some individuals who are just very dedicated supporters of very specific programs. So year over year, we let them know when that activity is coming up. It helps to gain momentum, gain excitement, and get them to be those champions to showcase it to their teams and grow participation as well. So just to give you a small example of this, we have our holiday toy drive in December, or even right now within the month of January, we do blood drives for National Blood Donor Month. So some people participate in that and some might pick something else. So we also try and hone in on our skills-based volunteering for our employees. So Steph had mentioned this earlier with TCS's 2 marquee programs that we provide to schools for free. That's Go IT and Ignite My Future. So Go IT encourages students to explore the world of technology and innovation by teaching them about design thinking, coding, and app development. And Ignite My Future equips educators with computational thinking and resources to integrate technology into everyday teaching across various subjects. So for both of those programs, we provide our employees with various opportunities to mentor students throughout their projects, go into the schools, potentially be judges for culminating events, which means when schools or classrooms come together for a friendly competition about app design and development. And then outside of this, we work with specific nonprofit partners as well that focus on young adults switching into tech careers and might be looking for those long or short-term mentors where our employees can really provide their expertise and skills to help out. And then to keep the momentum going and that our employees are not only hearing about the opportunities through us. I think somebody had said in the chat, like, what do you call your key people? And you can steal our term. We call them our CSR champions. And those are folks who, across accounts, they are the ones who are really excited about CSR initiatives, and they take on the opportunity to help elevate the opportunities within their region, and they share them. So those can be both in person or in their own time or virtually. So with that, we sort of wanted to close it by providing everybody with some ways that we sort of look at those milestone moments and how to choose what works for you. So we broke this down in a few ways. So for us, we would say, look internally and recognize what your expertise are. So this means to really reflect and focus on what your company's missions and values are. So if your focus is on sustainability, maybe consider the various nonprofits who are well versed in this area and look to see how you can support them. Is your focus local or global? So, do you have a dedicated team who can support CSR initiatives? So, for example, in larger companies, this might require a dedicated individual or multiple individuals to plan, organize, execute, and truly dig deep into understanding what your internal goals are. So, with recognizing the human power, think about what comes next. So, is your goal to give a donation, have your company name associated with something specific, or is it to encourage your volunteers and your employees to support and get hands on the ground? So, it's very important to know what the motive is, and understanding this can help determine what direction to start. So, secondly, we think it's important to understand the landscape. So, that means understanding the current state, trends, and factors that can influence your CSR programs. So, for example, with trends and best practices, maybe identify key CSR focus areas that you wish to tackle. So, it's important to maybe start with one or two areas of focus such as education, health and well-being, sustainability, and as we know, there's so much more. So look and hear what other organizations are doing and how they implement it, and learn about all different strategies. So stakeholder expectations, understanding what the stakeholder, so whether that's your employees, your customers, communities, expect from the company in terms of social and environmental responsibility. Industry standards and benchmarks. So, know how your competitors are approaching CSR and corporate citizenship to try and differentiate yourself. I love looking at other organizations' annual reports at the end and seeing how folks are doing it and what they're doing. And community and social needs. So, understanding the specific needs of the communities you want to support and ensure that the initiatives you are providing are impactful and relevant. And then, lastly, it's know how to measure and evaluate success. So, create a framework to figure out what your team's metrics are, how to assess success, and what impact looks like for you. Steph, I'll give
Wonderful.
you the last two.
On mute. I'm on mute. I did it. So two more: recognition for employees. So obviously this is a super important one to make sure that employees are recognized for supporting this company volunteer initiatives. We all know that time is precious. A lot of our volunteer activities are on the weekends, because we too have people at client sites who may not be able to get away during the workday. So we know time is precious. We know that family time is precious. We encourage them to bring families. So employees who volunteer alongside their companies, we believe in the value that this brings. Make sure not to lose that momentum by overburdening them too. That is key. We've seen that happen before where we go to the same people over and over, and it's just like, oh, we need to recognize you and give you space because we love you and we don't want to lose you. So at TCS, leadership recognition plays a huge role. We send appreciation notes with a certificate to everyone, all associates who volunteer 4 or more hours in a quarter. Their direct managers are copied, and it's also reflected on their appraisal dashboard. So when that appraisal time comes around, their manager is able to see how many appreciation notes they got on top of that email, and that they went above and beyond by volunteering. So it's a small recognition, but it's nice to see. We're copied on all of the emails too. And the leaders that write back and say, great job, thank you so much. It kind of creates that momentum to say, I'm going to keep on doing this. I want to get that recognition on top of being fulfilled by giving back to my community. And then last but not least, but look to see, obviously that's why we're all here, to see if there are any company milestones or timelines that you can get behind as a company. So don't try to reinvent the wheel. Is there something that your company is already recognizing or celebrating? And then find a way to add volunteering to that. Even for us, like we'll have an HR event and we'll say like, hey, how about an HR event and a food drive? So have that party and then bring a non-perishable. So Tata Volunteering Week started as 1 week around our founder's birthday in March, and it's since grown to this monumental month-long event, but didn't happen overnight. And I'm going to quote Nicole here because she drafted this one, but she said, find what works for you and know that you don't have to tackle it all. You just have to start. So thank you so much for having us today.
Thank you, Stephanie and Nicole. That was perfect. I appreciate your advice. I think our audience will as well. Some themes I picked up on are intentionality when it comes to sort of planning, but also thinking about the people who you can use to support you, whether that's HR or whether that's your champions. Um, Also those different inflection points. It might be one moment in time, but it needs to build and keep that momentum. It needs to flow throughout the year. So thank you both very much for being here and for sharing your expertise and experiences with us. I am going to now ask Courtney to join us on screen, and she is going to share a little bit about Phillips 66. So, Courtney, hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Good
I'm
to
going to It's good to see you too, my dear. I'm going to start with the very same simple question, except I know a little bit too about Phillips 66. So tell us about the moment or milestone that you've integrated into the employee volunteer program at Phillips 66.
Okay, sure. I'm going to go pretty high level with this because I know we're a little bit maybe short on time here, but I will say that we used COVID as a time to think about opportunities for what volunteerism looked like for us. It was a big downtime for us, as I'm sure it was many people. And so it was an opportunity to do a reset and think about how to have a best in class volunteer program. And we started our work by building a brand, a volunteer branded program, which was Good Energy. And in order to launch Good Energy brand, we wanted to couple it with a milestone or with something significant. And Global Volunteer Month made good sense for us. We had the opportunity to partner with Points of Light to utilize Points of Light's expertise and reputation and name in this space to sponsor Global Volunteer Month, which I think really gave us the opportunity to be launched and recognized in the space. And so we're very appreciative of the partnership, the work, and all of the recognition that you guys provided for us. And this was a time for our company to celebrate volunteerism, and it was a concentrated effort across the company for everybody to get out and to volunteer. The messaging came from the very top. It came from our CEO, and everybody was encouraged to participate in projects. There was a lot of flexibility, meaning we had projects that were organized at the corporate level that people could take advantage of. However, business leaders were also encouraged to organize projects, as were passionate employees, ERGs. And then you also had the opportunity to do individual volunteerism. So I will mention that volunteerism is very much a part of our culture. It's integrated into everything that we do. We have unlimited corporate volunteerism that employees can take advantage of. And then we have a policy for personal volunteerism where employees have 16 hours of time that they can use doing something that they want. So there was a lot of flexibility within the space for employees to really just get involved and to be a part of the initiative. And we also did some activation and some celebration around that, making it an all celebration event for employees, doing some big activations at our corporate headquarters, coming up with some fun themes in terms of being connected to community, giving out giveaways that matched that theme, and then packaging all of that up and providing that to each of our field locations so that they could leverage that as well. So really, everything started because of COVID. We had this opportunity to reinvent things with our downtime, and we have now grown this brand in a significant way and have done some recent benchmarking. Phillips 66 is now considered a best in class in terms of our industry peers. And so it has been a very good journey, and really thankful to Points of Light and to the partnership, and all of the support that you guys have given us in the space, and just being coupled with you all, and with the subject matter expertise to launch this work. So, and then I will just say, I think well, I'll just stop.
Courtney, no, I'm sorry. I'm so appreciative of you sharing all of this. I do want to ask, so tell us, like, what was the outcome? It seems to be working well,
It's
right?
working really well. We're very pleased. We're in our fourth year. It continues to move and grow. And I just, let's see, printed out our last our statistics from last year, and we had 16,000 employee volunteer hours. This was just in the month of April. 75 service projects. And then we also do granting. So it's $25 per hour of time volunteered. So in the month of April, just from this initiative, we were able to donate $400,000 back. So it was very good. This was really just a launching board, for our program. I will say that we celebrate volunteerism year round, and that we also do couple our volunteerism with different initiatives or milestones, if you will. We have strategic areas that we focus on, and we'll activate. We have philanthropic partnerships in each of those strategic areas. And part of what we look for in a philanthropic partner is the opportunity to integrate with them and to serve with them. And so we like thinking about, we like being simple and thinking about things when they make sense. And in August and September, we typically activate education and literacy in terms of volunteering and doing storytelling in regards to our investments. And we do that throughout the year, and throughout making sure that we're touching each one of our strategic pillars.
That's also how you sort of keep the momentum up too and get people looking forward to, if they're participating in September, they're thinking about April too and what they may be able to take advantage of.
Yeah, and I think that that's a really good point, is just keeping that cadence and building that so they know what's expected.
Exactly, that rhythm almost that they can expect it. That's fabulous. Okay, Courtney, I'm going to ask you the hard question that we had Stephanie and Nicole end on too. Do you have advice for our attendees about what they could do if they're thinking about integrating a moment or milestone into their employee volunteer program?
My advice would be really looking at some my advice would be to onboard your CEO and executive leadership with the idea. I think that's kind of the first step that you want to take. I think you want to put together a plan and present that plan to them and get their buy-in, and then work it from there. And yeah, have some different ideas on what things can look like. And from my experience, pilot is a good word, and testing something out, seeing how it goes, but thinking about, really doing like a comprehensive opportunity, if you will, everything from kind of some thought leadership on it from your CEO and kicking that off, to getting your executives involved, planning some different projects, doing a celebration type of an event to kick it off. And then making sure doing your storytelling just along the way, and sharing what's happening as the experience is unfolding, and then of course celebrating employees, and doing a brief wrap up on it.
Yeah, sharing the impact that they've created. That's an important piece to sort of put a pin on the end of that particular Global Volunteer Month and then get folks excited for participating again the following year.
Making sure to track and share your results and your successes. And I think that's a good place to start.
So, thank you, Courtney. I would love to say thank you again for being here. Thank you to Stephanie and Nicole for sharing their insights and experiences with y'all. Attendees out there, if you will give them some love in the chat for being willing to be generous with their time and their insights. We're going to try something new here with our Points of Light webinar. We're going to hear from more of the attendees. So I'm going to ask my colleague, Lacey, we're going to try to get some of your expertise, like I said, for attendees to learn from. So she is going to pull up something we call Mentimeter, and we've got a couple of questions for you, and for you all to be able to play along. All you need to do is hopefully you've got your smartphone handy. There is a QR code in the bottom left corner of the screen, or you can also use an internet browser and go to www.menti.com. And there's a code 79169319, which you'll see at the top of the screen, right? Hopefully, if you make your screen big enough, you can see how to log in from an internet browser. But we're going to ask first a test question just to make sure this is working. Tell us quickly a cause that you care about. Let's see if this works. And let us all also say a little silent prayer to the technology gods. Okay, looks like we've got some folks who are participating. We are collecting some of this great causes. Awesome. Okay, and you are welcome to keep responding, but we're going to move on to the hard-hitting questions now. Now, they're not as hard, hopefully, as the questions we posed to Nicole, Stephanie, and Courtney, but we would love to hear from you. If you have integrated your EVP, your employee volunteer program, into a cultural moment or company milestone, how has it been beneficial to achieving your goals? And these are one word or phrase answers. It won't be the word cloud we just saw, but tell us how you might have integrated and how it's been beneficial to achieving your goals. We'd love to capture that so attendees can learn from your experience as well, those who have integrated. And remember some of the things I mentioned earlier and some that our featured speakers shared was increased awareness, maybe getting all those emails because it's a singular moment in time where people are focused. It helps draw attention to what's going on. So there may be some more awareness, more participation. There actually may be more volunteering, more mobilizing of employee volunteers. Wonderful. I want to make sure you guys have a chance to share and learn from others who joined us today. So building relationships and we talked about those internal supports like our CSR champions or other teams, right? Oh, Courtney mentioned giveaways, the branded swag. That's also what's really important. I know that sounds terrible because we want to be good resource or good stewards of our resources, but sometimes those branded giveaways are the thing that helps the employee remember the volunteer brand, right? They put it on their desk or they wear a t-shirt or a hat that symbolizes that program. And then they remember, oh yeah, I need to check in. What is Good Energy doing these days? How do I participate? Okay, we're going to move on to question 2. How has the integration of your program and these moments or milestones transformed over the years? I think something that's also important for us to share is it can start off as this big galvanizing moment, but we also want to have inflection points, right, throughout the year. So that, think about the employees who may join your company long after that particular moment in time happens, right? They may hear about it, they may see pictures of it, but they didn't get a chance to participate. So those other inflection points give them a chance to participate, but also get them excited, hopefully, for what's going to happen maybe that next April when Global Volunteer Month rolls around. And then I would also share, I've done this myself in my lifetime. It was really actually 20 years ago. And It worked really well at first. For the first year, we did a week of service to celebrate 25th anniversary. And then we realized a week isn't long enough necessarily for the type of company that I worked for. So we evolved it into a month, right, to give everybody ample opportunity. And then we realized, because we had a change in focus areas, oh, we can now turn this into 2 months, so we continue the momentum we built in September, but let's connect it to Veterans Day now, and that gives you 2 months and a real good sort of story to tell, because we've now connected this existing month of service to Veterans Day and given more opportunity to participate. So evolving is not a bad thing after all. You just have to make sure your program still serves you, your goals, your company's goals, mostly your community needs, right? Okay, last question here. Let us move to number 3. If you haven't yet integrated your employee volunteer program into a key moment or milestone, either for the culture or for your company, what guidance, what advice would you give, or what do you think would be helpful to you to know to advocate for doing something similar at your company? Tell us what you need to learn about or hear more about in order to go to senior leadership with a plan to integrate your employee volunteer program into a key moment in time. Making the business case, always important, right? What would be the outcomes of doing it this way, right? We need to make sure we're thinking, how does this moment in time, this galvanizing moment perhaps, or this campaign, you might call it, or company-wide celebration, how is it going to solve for some of the business challenges, right? We think about retention, recruitment, all of these things are important to business leaders. What else would you need to know to advocate? Oh, the size of budget. Love that. That's what we're all worried about, isn't it? It is important when we think about these big moments in time, because there can be a lot of expenses that come with it, right? If you're not intentional with your planning and working with different internal teams, right? You may have money for grants, money for recognition, money for volunteer projects, right? Remember, volunteering isn't free. We know that, and we understand why. You need money for communications materials. Maybe those, new T-shirts or giveaway. So cost is definitely important, I think, and that's great to hear from our audience. Wonderful. All right. Keep that advice. How to get more money. This is the truth, right? We're always interested in those tactics and strategies. Awesome. All right. I'm going to keep us moving then, so we make sure we end on time. I am going to go back. Thank you, Lacey, for helping me with the Mentimeter. We are going to now close out. We're almost done. I promise. Thank you all again for being here. And of course, let's give another round of applause, silent or not, to our fabulous guest speakers, Nicole, Stephanie, and Courtney. We so appreciate them being generous with their time and insights. And I also want to say thank you to all of you who've joined us today. I'm sure there are 1,000 other things you needed to get done, but you chose to be here. So thank you for that. We'll be sending out a follow-up email after the webinar concludes with a recording of today's conversation, our top takeaways, and a link to some resources that we hope you'll take advantage of, including a link to a blog that I mentioned about suggested milestones. It's, many organizations publish a calendar sort of what we think are key volunteer days that you may be able to integrate into your employee volunteer program. So we'll send you a link to that blog. We're also going to send you a link to some Global Volunteer Month resources like you see on the screen here. We have been supporting or leading the sort of Global Volunteer Month movement for many years now, and we like to make sure our resources are available. They're all free to download. They come with graphics like you can see on the screen that you could use for emails or social media posts, or just sharing with your employee volunteers, or sharing, get your partners involved as well so that they can thank their those employee volunteers that come from your organization or their own volunteers, but we would love for you to use these resources as you see fit, which is also why we did this in January. So hopefully we're giving you enough lead time to integrate them into your plans. And then one of the other great things that we do here at Points of Light is we host an annual conference, and we'd love to have you join us in New Orleans, June 3rd through 6th for that conference. You'll be able to attend inspiring and informative sessions led by your peers, like the fabulous Courtney, Stephanie, Nicole, great experts who do this work day in and day out, as well as hear from incredible change makers during our main stage moments. And you'll find information about conference and traveling to New Orleans and pricing on our website. And just a side note, the current pricing will end on March 31st, so check it out today. And then, of course, I cannot let you go without giving you one last poll, right? One more thing, one more request. If you will kindly tell us how we did today, your feedback is so important to me as we think about future learning opportunities. So we would love to hear how you would rate or recommend our corporate content, whether it's a webinar form like today or our blogs, learning briefs, etc. Let us know if you would recommend it to a peer or colleague. Because, like I said, I cannot overstate how important it is to know how we're doing, how we're being received out there, or what else. And then I will also share, a lot of you had great questions that you put in the chat or in the Q&A box, and I collect those to make sure that we think through them when we're producing new content. And then if you ever have questions outside of when we're doing a webinar and you have a chance to ask, always know that we publish a monthly LinkedIn newsletter called Ask a CSR Friend. And we'll include a link to that in our follow-up email as well, but you are always welcome to ask an anonymous question and we may answer it in that blog. So please, please let us know what's top of mind to you, for you. And last but not least, just again to say thank you for joining us. Please reach out and connect with us to learn more about Points of Light and our social impact solutions. But otherwise, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. Thanks again to Courtney, Nicole, and Stephanie for being here with us. And thanks to my team behind the scenes who made this happen today. Thank you all so much.